Welcome to ICTS Business Analytics Program, Module 1, Descriptive Analytics. Today's module will be on data visualization, fundamentals, using open source tools. Let's start the session. Go to web browser Google Chrome, download Python, click on download option. There all releases button will be found. Select 3.66 version. Select installer as per your program and your platform used. Select x86 if you have 32-bit Windows, else select 8664 for 64-bit Windows. Executable installer is recommended. If you are running a Linux based system, then Python will already be installed. There is very popular bundling package called Anaconda, but to go get a basic understanding of various dependencies, how it interacts, it is recommended to use pip, which is installed with standard Python installation. Python is getting installed. Setup is in progress. Now, why Python is most advantageous? Because it is an object oriented programming language. It has advantage over other programming languages such as R. Python has conducive libraries in open source that helps in fast product development using machine learning algorithms. Python helps in building a full stack solution easily and popularly used to build softwares having extensive features for interacting with OS, unlike R, which is used for basic research. Candidates using Windows platform should have Windows SDK installed on their system for installing the packages. To download Windows SDK, go to https://developer.microsoft.com and then Windows 10 SDK will be uploaded. Next is Python installation. It will be followed by Jupyter Notebook installation. While Python setup progress will take some time, one can simultaneously check for the other resources from where you can get the data set. If you have the data set, then you can use your own data set. Otherwise, visualization is possible in some open source repositories. To learn machine learning algorithm, use dataset access open source websites such as UCI machine learning repository. So this archive has lots of data set and it gives a good repository for visualization. Another popular data set is Kaggle. From Kaggle dataset, accessing to the website, one can have the data on the visualization. So you can check meanwhile, because Python 3.6.6 will take some time. There are other packages that has to be downloaded following this. This is the Jupyter Notebook which has to be installed. So at the back end, you can also open jupyter.org and install So Jupyter can be also installed using Anaconda, but we are using python.org. So we will use with pip. So click on install button. Once we are done with the Python, after that Jupyter will get installed, and after Jupyter another package needs to be installed for data visualization, that is Seaborn package. Will show you that seaborn.pydata.org site you have to visit. There you can go to the installation page, copy the pip command, and it gets installed. So these are the prerequisites for data analysis and data visualization using Python. So we are using Python for Windows, as mostly users are familiar for Windows. As for Linux, already Python is being installed. However, the last component that is to be installed after this will be the stats model, because stats model is not a mandatory dependencies. Mandatory dependencies of Seaborn package are NumPy, SciPy, Matplotlib, Pandas, while recommended dependencies are stats model. Hence stats model need to be again installed before starting with the testing on our data and going for the data visualization. So setup of Python is almost done, and meanwhile you can open the Kaggle to upload your data set. Here we would choose the Titanic data set for data visualization. So this is the Kaggle site where from Titanic 3 datas are there, and all these 3 data set, that is gender submissions, test CSV, train CSV, this will be downloaded. So download it and put it in a folder, keep it in the desktop. You have to put your username and password to sign in, and you can see if you are already using Kaggle, then all the data gets downloaded in form of a zip file. This zip file has to be extracted, and in desktop you can keep a folder, create a new folder, Titanic, and there the data set gets extracted for analysis. Now setup was successful for Python. It has taken few minutes. Next you have to run command prompt, press window and search for CMD. Run command prompt with administration privileges to install Python packages. Type python -mpip install Jupyter in command line to install Jupyter notebook. Next, there are multiple IDEs such as Jupyter, PyCharm, Python Anywhere, Spider, etc. PyCharm and Python Anywhere are mostly used for software development. However, Jupyter is preferred at a foundation level for its user friendliness and ease of use. Hence, Jupyter package has been installed. Next, pip install Seaborn package. Copy the pip command required, and Seaborn will be used in this tutorial since it is specifically curated for statistical data visualization in Python. So installation is going on, as Seaborn requires mandatory packages such as NumPy, SciPy, Matplotlib and Pandas. These are automatically getting installed with Seaborn. Here Python 3.6 has been used instead of 3.7 version because it is compatible with PyTorch library, which will be used further in our artificial intelligence module using neural networks and deep learning. Now the last model, that is the stats model, which is an additional dependency, is to be installed manually. Go to CMD again and type pip install stats model to install. Already we have downloaded the dataset from Kaggle. So now we can upload the dataset in Jupyter. Here we have to type run Jupyter notebook, open command prompt and type the command python am notebook. Here also Django could have been used instead of Jupyter, which is, as Django is also an open source framework in Python like Jupyter, which is mostly used for building web apps. Django takes less code to build web app based software. However, for basic level of understanding and simplicity, Jupyter is widely used as compared to Django framework. After achieving proficiency with Jupyter, participants find it easy to learn Django framework. Now dataset has to be uploaded. In order to start the session, train.csv, open it and it gets uploaded. So in Jupyter. So basically Jupyter screen opens and where data set gets uploaded, and since it already exists, so replace file has come. For you it will be new upload. And next, after uploading, start a new notebook, click on new, then Python 3 will come. A new notebook can be seen. Next is the we have to import the packages. Import NumPy as NP, import pandas as PD, import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, import Seaborn as SNS, percentage matplotlib inline to show graphs, click on run. Then to next level we go for data visualization. Pip install matplotlib. Installation is going on. One by one the packages are getting installed. So after completion of this installation, data visualization with this data set on Titanic will be conducted. Here you have to type each case, the installation commands, and finally you can see that it gets installed. Next, in Jupyter Notebook, since there was error, again we are importing numpys, pandas, matplotlib, Seaborn, and then run. First dataset is loaded using pandas function. Read CSV file name. To check if dataset has loaded properly, use the head function to display the file. CSV file can now be seen. So histogram of age of passengers will be plotted. To make a histogram, matplotlib function hist is used, which takes arguments of data, number of bins optional, color optional. Data provided here is the age of passengers boarded the Titanic using titanic.age. Remember to use drop NA within bracket to ignore the missing values in the data. Then run and you can see the histogram of the plot. Next, box plot of age of the passengers can be visualized. A box plot provides a simple graphical summary of the data. It shows a measure of central location of data. It is useful when comparing two or more data sets. Box plot function of Seaborn package is thus showing age is plotted with respect to the sex of the passengers. Next visualization technique that you will learn is kernel density estimate plot. Kernel density estimate plot, KD plot, is a non-parametric way of representing the probability density function of a random variable. A probability density function of a random variable shows the probability that the variable is confined in a defined interval. The function kdplot is used of Seaborn package as shown, and this is the visualization. Next is the density plot visualization technique. Here density plot is a smooth continuous version of histogram. The x-axis in a density plot represents value of data like histogram, but y-axis represents probability density. This plot function of seaborne package is used and age is passed as data. We can see the density plot. Next visualization technique is violin plot. A violin plot is more informative than a plain blocks plot because it shows full distribution of data such as mean, median, mode, interquartile range. Violin plot function of seaborne package is used to plot age of passengers with respect of their sex. Male and female distribution are compared in the graph based on their age. Last function of data visualization is cumulative distribution function. The CDF of age is plotted using the KD plot function, but this time setting the cumulative parameter as true has to be done, otherwise it will plot the kernel density estimate. Age is taken in x-axis and probability of occurrence in y-axis. The cumulative distribution function shows that around 80% of the population is less than 40 years of age. Here we end our data visualization using Python, installing all the packages, and the module we come to an end. For any queries you can send in the query box while you practice on this dataset or other datasets. Thank you.